For those of you that are struggling to complete the HT-12 mission for the Object 260, this is a good example of how to complete this mission with the German VK4502b. Now, I tried a bunch of tanks before switching to the 4502b. I actually had to repurchase it because I sold it a long time ago. But I tried the T-32, which is actually a pretty decent tank for this. I came very close, probably a half a dozen times over the course of, say, 75 missions, but was never able to get over the top. In fact, I blocked the correct amount of damage a number of times, but was never able to do that and get a combination of 3,000 damage. In fact, I had a couple games where I got 3,000 damage and couldn't get enough shots on me to actually block enough for it. And I also have the mouse, which is also another tank that people usually reference when talking about this mission. But there's a couple problems with the mouse. One, it's really expensive to run, so if you lose, you're losing quite a bit of money to do this mission. But ultimately, I found that it's very rare that you get into a position where you can just take a bunch of shots from the enemy. As soon as people see a mouse, they typically go gold, and those sneak shots into the front of your turret, or you just don't get enough shots on you, and you don't even come close to getting 9K, which was the more likely scenario. This is a great map for this. There's a long alley here with TDs at the end, which is exactly what you want. And you saw that I was actually just firing just to make sure that they would see me, because I was behind some bushes as I was rolling up. Because I want them to shoot me from as far distance as possible, so they're less accurate, and I'll just collect as much block damage as possible. Now, I also have this light tank that's, I don't know what he thinks he's doing here, but he's essentially going to start the damage done meter for me here. I'm just going to turn around and kill him real quick to get that going as well. But the great thing is, I'm 2 minutes into this match, and I'm almost halfway done with the damage blocked, so I'm in good shape already. And I'm just going to continue to make my presence known so that they'll continue to shoot me while trying to keep my front plate covered. Now, this AMX rolls up into the picture. I don't know exactly what he was trying to do. He was really pissing me off because I'm having a good match to this point relative to the mission. And I actually lost my cool here with him for a second. Told him I was going to team kill him if he didn't back off, which he did. I don't know why he was there anyways, but that's certainly not a position for a light tank to be in unless it wants to get one shot. But in any case, I continue on. I ignore this WT, and at this point, I'm getting a little nervous about the amount of damage that I'm outputting, so I'm trying to get some damage going here. I take a big shot, but I have a decent health pool in this tank, and hopefully will serve me well for the rest of the match. I take another big shot here, but the combination of shots puts me over the edge in terms of block damage. I'm really low at this point in terms of health, probably a one shot for everything that's on the other side of this position, with the exception of the Tiger. But even then, it's a two shot for the Tiger. So I decide to back off a bit. And in fact, I even contemplate whether or not I want to continue being down here with all those big guns now that I've blocked all my damage. And I think for a second of whether or not I actually want to run up top and start taking sniping shots across the hill. But there's a heavy tank up there that's going to die, so I figured the health pool up there was shrinking pretty fast. And so I decide to stay down here where I know there's at least 3 or 4 tanks in front of me that I can hopefully sneak some shots in without exposing my tank too much, so I decide to stay down below. Given how difficult this mission has been and how close I am in this particular match, I can't really explain why I'm in the terrible position that I'm in, because if someone was to come around that corner, they could shoot my lower plate pretty easily, like this ST could have. But miraculously, he doesn't see me, and decides to shoot the WT, which was probably lit, and that actually saved me from a good chance of dying right there. But I know that I have to get some damage in, so I want to push up to this rock. And of course, this always makes you nervous because there's big guns at the end. But at the same time, I'm pushing up. They decide to begin to push on me. So the object comes into picture, and the ST comes back. The T-30 starts to move closer, and I'm getting really, really nervous about whether or not I'm going to be able to complete this mission. Particularly with that ST pointing straight at my hatch there. Luckily, I get more bounces, which is fantastic. Not that I need them at this point, and that T-30 has to back off for a little bit because he's got a long reload time. So I put another one in him, but now I'm really just one shot away from getting this mission done, and the T-30 starts to push. I wasn't mentally tracking his load time, but he wasn't quite ready. He pushed a little too soon. I get the final shot in, and I complete the mission. Hopefully this was a good example of how to get this mission done, because I know it's difficult, and if you have a VK4502b, I highly recommend using it for this particular mission.